Jay Leno's car collection isn't just famous, it's the most expensive private garage on earth. Over 180 cars, 600 bikes, and more stories than a museum. Today we're counting down the wildest, rarest, and most mind-blowing machines from Jay Leno's $250 million empire. Number 10, 1932 Packard Twin 6. Before the million-dollar hypercars, there was this. The 1932 Packard Twin 6 wasn't built to impress with speed or flash. It was built to whisper power. It was Jay Leno's first true collector car, the spark that ignited everything that came after. Back in the mid-1980s, Leno purchased it from Phil Hill, America's first Formula One champion, a legend selling a legend. That alone makes this Packard a rolling piece of history. Hill had personally restored it in his own workshop, so every inch carries his craftsmanship and fingerprints. When Jay tells the story, you can hear the nostalgia. It was my first real classic car, and I still love driving it. And he wasn't exaggerating. He used to take this elegant green beauty out almost daily, cruising Los Angeles boulevards like he'd stepped straight out of a 1930s film reel. Under that long hood hums a V12 engine so smooth you can barely tell it's running, a vacuum-assisted clutch on the steering wheel, a fold-out rumble seat for passengers, and an adjustable suspension made it the Rolls-Royce of its day. What's more astonishing is its reliability. Jay often jokes it starts easier than some of his modern cars. For him, the Packard isn't just car number one in a collection, it's the foundation of a life built around motion, mechanics, and memory. This car, he says, reminds me why I started doing this in the first place, because great machines never die. It's a sentiment only someone who truly loves cars would understand. Wealth might buy a garage, but passion keeps the engine alive. Number 9, 2017 Ford GT. Fast forward 85 years, and the story takes a wild turn. From hand-built luxury to futuristic aerodynamics, the 2017 Ford GT proves Jay's taste evolved, but his philosophy never changed. Cars are meant to be driven. Ford hand-selected every buyer for this car, and Jay Leno was one of them. Not because he's famous, but because he's obsessed. His GT carries the same serial number as his 2005 model, symbolizing the connection between old and new. The base price was about $450,000, but Jay couldn't resist personal touches. Exposed carbon fiber wheels, titanium lug nuts, orange racing stripes, and custom interior stitching. Those small details added nearly $55,000 more. Yet even with all the luxury, he treated it like a toy, not a trophy. To protect the paint, he had the entire body wrapped in XPEL film before ever taking it out. But take it out he did, often. Leno compared its feel to his McLaren F1, calling it a road car you could drive to Le Mans, win the race, and drive home again. Underneath, the GT hides a 3.5-liter twin-turbo V6 pushing 647 horsepower, blasting from 0 to 60 in under 3 seconds. It's a race-bred monster with the soul of an engineer's daydream. One Reddit fan even calculated the car's exact price by zooming into the VIN number shown in his video, proof that every tiny detail of Leno's garage is internet legend. What makes this car remarkable isn't its rarity or cost, it's that Jay actually uses it. He'll take a $500,000 track car through Los Angeles traffic just to grab coffee. It's that fearless, slightly absurd confidence that makes his collection feel more alive than any museum's. Number 8, 1967 Lamborghini Miura P400. Before Lamborghini became a symbol of outrageous wealth and wild design, there was the Miura P400, the car that invented the word supercar. And of course, Jay Leno owns one. When it rolled out in 1966, the Miura stunned the world. A mid-engine V12 layout, a sculpted body that looked like liquid metal, and a top speed over 170 miles per hour. At a time when most family sedans struggled to hit 80. But Jay's Miura isn't just another museum piece. It's one of the earliest ever made, rescued from years of neglect after its original engine blew. For decades, it sat forgotten until Leno found it. A dusty relic of Italian genius waiting for a second life. On his show, he described it with the kind of reverence most people reserve for art. The Miura changed everything. It was a time when design ruled over aerodynamics, and somehow they got both right. Every detail is handmade. The wooden steering wheel, the hand-stitched leather, even the flip-up headlights that blink like eyes. Back then, engineers didn't use computers. They used intuition, pencils, and nerve. It's powered by a 3.9-liter V12 mounted transversely, meaning sideways, a radical idea in the 60s. Producing 350 horsepower, it could outrun Ferraris, yet looked graceful doing it. And today, Jay's fully restored Miura is worth well over $3 million. But to him, it's not about the number, it's about that unmistakable wail of a vintage Italian V12 echoing through a Los Angeles tunnel. "You can't explain it," he said once, "you just drive it and everything else feels boring." And that's what separates collectors from car lovers. One buys history, the other lives it. Number 7. 1931 Bugatti Type 51. The 1931 Bugatti Type 51 sits in Jay Leno's garage like a piece of sculpture. Elegant, impossibly rare, and dripping with history. But don't let its looks fool you, this car was built to fight. In the 1920s and 30s, Bugatti dominated the Grand Prix scene. The Type 51 was their secret weapon, a 2.3-liter supercharged straight 8 that screamed to 200 horsepower and could hit 140 miles per hour when airplanes were barely doing more. Jay's particular car has a story worthy of a novel. It was once driven by Louis Curon, the same man Bugatti's modern hypercar is named after. After years of racing, it was rebodied in 1937 by coach builder Louis Dubose, transforming it from a raw track weapon into one of the most breathtaking machines ever built. The car vanished for decades, its body and chassis separated and scattered around Europe, before being reunited and restored to its 1937 form in the early 2000s. When Jay finally got his hands on it, he didn't just preserve it, he brought it back to life. Today, it's a living time capsule, a perfect blend of beauty and brutality. The twin overhead cam engine still howls like an angry hornet, the polished aluminum gleams under his studio lights, and the history drips from every rivet. Jay once called it one of the finest sounds in all of motoring. It's not the fastest car in his garage, not even close, but it's the one that makes him pause before turning the key. Because this isn't just a car, it's a symphony from an era when engines were art and danger was part of the design. Number 6. 2004 Porsche Carrera GT. There are cars that demand respect, and then there's the Porsche Carrera GT, a machine that commands fear. Jay Leno doesn't just own one, he's spun one at 191 miles per hour. It happened at Talladega Speedway. Jay was testing the car for a Porsche feature, pushing for top speed. When he lifted off the throttle too fast, the rear snapped loose, sending him into a violent spin. He walked away without a scratch, but the legend of the Carrera GT only grew stronger. And this car deserves its reputation. Built with racing DNA from Porsche's Le Mans program, it carries a 5.7-liter V10 engine, originally meant for Formula 1. It revs to 8,400 RPM, produces 603 horsepower, and weighs just 3,000 pounds. No traction control, no stability assist, no mercy. When it debuted in 2004, it cost around $440,000. A terrifying price for something so raw. Prices dipped for a while, but today, pristine examples sell for over $1 million. Jay's is all original, finished in silver with the rare terracotta leather interior and that iconic balsa wood shift knob. An elegant touch on a car that could easily kill an unskilled driver, but that's what makes it special to him. "It's not the fastest car I own," he once said, "but it's the one that reminds you who's really in charge. The car, not you." The Carrera GT has a mythical reputation, beloved by purists, feared by everyone else. Even actor Paul Walker tragically lost his life in one, solidifying its infamy. Yet Jay continues to drive his regularly, calling it the last true analog supercar. It's not just metal and rubber, it's the end of an era, a time before touchscreens, turbos, and safety nets. When you hear that V10 scream through Leno's garage, it's not just sound, it's history roaring back to life. Number 5. 2010 Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita. If the Carrera GT is raw danger, the Koenigsegg CCXR Trevita is controlled madness wrapped in carbon diamonds. This isn't hyperbole. The Trevita literally sparkles under the light. Its body is made from carbon fiber infused with diamond dust. That shimmering effect, it's not paint. It's crushed diamonds woven into the car's skin. Only 3 were ever made, and one of them lives in Jay Leno's garage. Delivered personally by Christian von Koenigsegg, the Swedish mastermind himself, Jay's Trevita represents the pinnacle of hand-built obsession. Underneath the art lies science fiction, a 4.8-liter twin supercharged V8 capable of 1,018 horsepower. It can run on biofuel, hit 60 miles per hour in 2.9 seconds, and reach over 250 miles per hour. That's Bugatti Veyron performance at half the weight, and all the drama. Inside, everything feels like it belongs in a spaceship. Digital readouts, carbon everywhere, and a detachable roof that stows neatly in the front trunk. Even the doors open in a double synchronized swirl known as the Koenigsegg Dihedral Synchro Helix, the kind of feature that sounds made up until you see it moves. It's extreme even by billionaire standards. Every part is custom built, crash tested, and signed off by Koenigsegg's engineers. If it had a Ferrari badge, Jay once joked, it'd cost 10 times more. The Trevita is worth over $5 million today, and that's being conservative. To most people, it's unthinkable that someone would casually drive something like this, but Jay Leno isn't most people. He's the kind of guy who takes a diamond-covered hypercar to a Sunday car meet just to talk about spark plugs. It's equal parts ridiculous and admirable, a perfect symbol of his philosophy. If you own it, you should drive it, otherwise it's just expensive furniture. Number 4, 1932 Duesenberg S.J. Murphy convertible. Long before Bugatti, Ferrari, or Rolls-Royce became status symbols, there was his name that ruled them all, Duesenberg, and Jay Leno doesn't just have one. He has several, but the crown jewel among them is the 1932 Duesenberg S.J. Murphy convertible. Back in the 1930s, a Duesenberg wasn't simply a car, it was a declaration, the automotive equivalent of wearing a crown. Each one was built by hand, customized to the buyer's wildest imagination. No two were ever alike. The SJ model was especially insane. Underneath that endless hood sits a supercharged 320 horsepower straight 8, an engine so powerful it could hit 100 miles per hour at a time when most cars struggled to reach half that. And Leno's example, one of only 38 ever made, the kind of car that would have lined the driveway of Hollywood royalty or oil tycoons. When new, the chassis alone cost $10,000, while the average American car costs $500. That's like buying a $2 million chassis today before even adding the bodywork. The body, crafted by the legendary Murphy Coachworks, is pure art. Long, low, and impossibly elegant, like a yacht sculpted in steel. Leno calls it one of the few cars that feels like it's breathing when you drive it. Incredibly, he still takes it on the road. You'll see him pull up to local shows wearing denim and a grin, casually parking a multi-million-dollar relic of America's golden age like it's a Honda Civic. At auction, similar models have fetched over $4 million, and experts estimate Jay's could easily surpass $2 million or more. But you get the feeling he doesn't care about that number. For Jay, this car represents something deeper, a time when America built the best in the world, when engines were symphonies and craftsmanship was the ultimate luxury. It's not just a convertible, it's rolling proof that ambition can be beautiful. Number 3, Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. Few cars have a presence like the Mercedes-Benz 300 SL Gullwing. It doesn't matter if you know cars or not. One look at those upward opening doors, and you know you're staring at something special. Jay Leno's Gullwing isn't just any example. It's been through hell, resurrection, and a complete rebirth. He discovered it abandoned in a California desert, stored in a container, missing its engine and transmission, baking under the sun. Most people would have walked away. Jay bought it on the spot. After a meticulous restoration, his Gullwing gleams in House of Color Candy apple red, accented with a Tony Nancy crafted interior that keeps the original gauges and plaid racing trim intact. It's the perfect mix of restoration and preservation. Underneath, it hides a 3.0-liter inline 6 with direct fuel injection, revolutionary tech for the 1950s. It produced 220 horsepower and could reach 150 miles per hour, making it the fastest production car in the world at the time. To put that in perspective, in the 1950s, most cars couldn't even dream of touching 100 miles per hour. The Gullwing shattered every expectation. No wonder Elvis Presley and Frank Sinatra both owned one. Jay calls it the McLaren F1 of its era, and he's right. It was a race car disguised as luxury. He also owns the oldest surviving Gullwing race car, an aluminum-bodied W194, plus a magnesium prototype weighing just over 2,000 pounds. Both early factory racers that helped Mercedes dominate endurance racing. Today, his candy apple red Gullwing alone is worth around $8 million, while the two rare competition models could double that, but Jay doesn't keep them behind glass. He drives them. He's been spotted at car meets, parking an $8 million Gullwing like it's no big deal, chatting with fans about fuel injection and chassis geometry. That's the essence of Jay Leno. Not a collector, but a caretaker. He doesn't own these cars to show off. He owns them to make sure they never stop doing what they were built for, moving. Number 2. McLaren F1. If there's one car that defines Jay Leno's collection, it's the McLaren F1. For most collectors, this would be the holy grail. For Jay, it's just another car he drives once a month. Only 106 McLaren F1s were ever built between 1992 and 2000, and even decades later, it's still considered one of the greatest cars ever made. Designed by Gordon Murray, it was built for one purpose: to be the ultimate driver's car. No turbos, no computers, no gimmicks, just pure analog perfection. Jay's owned his for over 26 years, and someone once offered him $20 million for it. He said no, not because he's sentimental, but because you can't replace it. Under that sleek, teardrop-shaped body lies a 6.1-liter BMW V12, making 617 horsepower, all stuffed into a carbon fiber monocoque chassis decades ahead of its time. The driver's seat sits dead center, flanked by 2 passenger seats, like a cockpit designed for the road. What's wild is how Jay treats it. He doesn't baby it, he drives it regularly. He's been seen fueling it up at ordinary gas stations in Los Angeles, chatting with random people about tire pressure, all while standing next to a car worth more than most private jets. When the paint picked up swirl marks and scratches, Jay called in his own detailing team from Leno's garage, who carefully polished it by hand, taped every chrome edge, and treated it like a priceless artifact. And yet, after the polish, he took it straight out for a drive. Cars like this shouldn't sit still, he says. They're meant to move. It's the most powerful symbol of who Jay Leno is, a billionaire in denim who'd rather hear a V12 echo through a tunnel than let it gather dust in silence. The McLaren F1 isn't just a car, it's proof that perfection can exist, and that passion can be louder than price. Number 1. 1934 Duesenberg Walker Coupe. And finally, the crown jewel, the most expensive, most storied, and most jaw-dropping car in Jay Leno's entire collection, the 1934 Duesenberg Walker Coupe. Only one was ever made. Commissioned by Josiah Lilly, the president of Eli Lilly Pharmaceuticals, during the depths of the Great Depression, a time when people could barely afford food, and he was building the world's most extravagant automobile. Designed by J. Herbert Newport, the Walker Coupe was unlike anything else on Earth. It had aircraft-inspired design, a V-shaped windshield, hidden door handles, and headlights built into the fenders, features decades ahead of their time. It was so futuristic that people literally threw rocks at it in public, angry at the display of wealth during an economic collapse. After Lilly sold it, the car's story got even stranger. It passed through the hands of a politician's mistress, then was converted into a tow truck. Yes, a $20 million Duesenberg once towed cars for a living, before being rescued and restored. When Jay found it, it was a wreck. He waited for years until the price dropped due to tax complications, then bought it and spent over $1 million restoring it to perfection. Inside, the Duesenberg feels like a time capsule of Art Deco luxury. Leather, chrome, hand-turned dials, and silent elegance. Under the hood, a 265 horsepower straight 8 delivers effortless power. In the 1930s, that was twice what most cars produced. Experts estimate that if Jay ever sold it, the Walker Coupe could fetch $20 to $30 million at auction. But he never will. He drives it, carefully, reverently, sometimes down LA streets where most people have no idea they're watching history roll by. It even took second place at Pebble Beach, one of the world's most prestigious concours events. And the next day, Jay drove it home. That's who he is. The Duesenberg Walker Coupe isn't just the most expensive car in Jay's collection. It's the perfect symbol of his philosophy that machines were made to move, stories were made to be told, and no amount of money can replace the thrill of motion.